Hello and welcome to Tricks of the Straight channel. Today is the 12th of January 2018. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Mick Jagger. We want to find out who Mick Jagger is all about. There's a popular song about Mick Jagger, which was sang by the group called Maroon 5, in which Adam Levine, who's also a woman, but has been, been presented to us like a man, singing about that he's moving, or she's moving actually like Mick Jagger. And if you guys watch that video, you would notice that when the video was being made about that particular song, when they showed Jagger dancing, then they would just cut and show a female dancing, cut, show Jagger dancing, and cut, show a female dancing. And Adam Levine, who's also another transgender, that means he's actually female, is singing about moving like Mick Jagger. And they also featured another female in Christina Aguilera on that particular music video. And Christina Aguilera's song, or let's say verse on that song, was particularly very like telling. But this is how the Vatican is usually lies to everybody and makes people actually believe in lies by mixing lies with truth and selling it to the public, because the whole song was full of symbolism showing you that Mick Jagger is not who we think he is, because you have two females in Adam Levine and Christina Aguilera singing about Mick Jagger, and the video cuts from Mick Jagger to a woman dancing and saying that they move like Mick Jagger, and people wouldn't actually catch it. So if it's your first time on our channel and you heard all that, and you want to continue watching this video, you might have a lot of questions that might go unanswered in this particular video. We would recommend that you watch the primer video first, because when you watch the primer video, a lot of the things that a lot of the things you're saying right now is going to make a lot of sense to you. But if you do not watch the primer video, a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is not going to make any sense to you at all. You're going to have more unanswered questions. And so we advise that you watch the primer video first before you can continue watching this video. So if you're a new subscriber, just pause the video right here and go look for the primer video. And let me show you how to get to the primer video if you're a new subscriber. So the primer video is going to be the oldest video on the channel. It's just going to be called Primer. It also has a playlist on the channel. So when you get to the video, or any video on this particular channel, when you've done watching the primer video, there's a link in the description section. The link in the description section is going to lead you to a document. I'm hovering my mouse over the link right here. It's going to take you to a document that's going to be called Male versus Female Visual Differences. Now, this is an education channel, so we expect everybody who gets on this channel to be able to know the difference between male and female, such that you can carry on your own trial investigation, because it's something that everybody ought to know. All right, if you're interested in transgenders, you ought to know how to differentiate the sexes. So this document was going to help you do that. But if you don't have time to read through the document, which we suggest that you must learn how to read, you must start to love reading, because all the history about a world is in books. Books could be in some sort of e-format on the internet, or just like hard books. And like we have said before, we're coming out with a book. The book's going to be available before the end of this month, we believe. And we're going to start, mailing out copies based on those who are interested in the book. So we will send an email out to you when it's ready, and you guys can, order it. Because you're not going to find the book, like we said, on any of the websites, like say Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or any online avenues. We are just going to be mailing the book directly to you. So the book is going to be ready before the end of the month, we believe. If the Vatican shuts us down on this channel, we want you to subscribe to a second channel. You can go look for the subscriber. I think I'll show you how to subscribe to the second channel in a second or so. But the book is going to be ready, and we'll email the people who send us an email about the book, requesting for the book first, and let them know the cost of the book and the cost of shipping before we make a video public. So we believe that all that will be ready before the end of the month. That's what we hope. So like I said, if you're on the channel, it's an educational channel, so we expect you to get educated. And one of the ways you have to educate yourself is by loving to read. You have to make a habit into reading. All right. And so right here, this particular document is going to help you to know the visual differences between male and female. But if you do not have the time to read, which we suggest that you should do, then if you watch our videos and see how we transvestigate people, then you can have a basic understanding, because the differences between a male and female, man and a woman, is that the female is designed to give birth and a man's not designed to give birth. So such things as, long arms, torsos, jaw lines, Adam's apples, Adonis belts, long ring index fingers, and any of the sorts of description, male, like male brow bossing, and slanting forehead, all that have nothing to do with childbirth. You can use that to distinguish between males and females, because that's just a general difference, but it doesn't change the fact, okay, that a woman having all those can give birth. Okay, the differences between a male and a female lies in the fact that the woman's skeletal structure is designed to give birth, while the male skeletal structure is not. And the design of that skeletal structure and the ability to give birth lies in the pelvic region. Okay, so you have to remember that a female has hips below her crotch. She has a tilted pelvis forward. She has an arch in her back, and she has a wide pubic arch, which is necessary for childbirth. Men don't have any of those. Men have straight pelvises. Their hips are above the crotch, all right? They have a narrow pubic arch, and they have a straight back, which is not needed for childbirth. So this document will help you know the visual differences, but know that the major thing that differentiates between the males and females lies in the pelvic region. That's why we lay so much emphasis on that. So now what you're looking at right here is a female to my left. Now we've started a transvestigation of Mick Jagger already, so that's why I'm doing this all over again. Here's a female to my left, and you can see she has an arch in her back. The arch is because the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward, one. And secondly, the arch is also extra support for the weight of carrying children, the weight of pregnancy, so that this female does not have a problem walking and hurting the baby, or tumbling over herself and hurting herself. So that's what the arch is for. So a female always has an arch in her back, and depending on where you draw the arch from, it's going to be just, if you draw it just from below the shoulder blades, it's going to be a C-shaped arch in the back. If you draw it from high up in the neck, the back of a woman is going to be shaped like an S spine, and you can see this very glaringly if the female stands sideways, as you see right here. So the bigger the arch, the bigger the hips of a female, because the bigger hips requires extra, support. That's why you have a bigger arch in the back if you're a female with very huge hips. So remember those two letters, an S-shaped spine for a female and a C-shaped arch in the back for a female also. Now, males have straight pelvises. A man's back does not arch because he does not give birth. He can have some sort of, maybe like, say, problem with his pelvis, but the back is not going to arch. It's going to be a straight back. If a man's back wants to arch, it's going to arch outwards. Remember that. Arches outwards. A female's back arches inwards. So a man's back is going to be arched in such that you have the letter D, as you can see right here, or a P. Okay, P in the sense that this back extends outside, and then from below the shoulder blades, all right, it's straight into the pelvis area or pelvic region. So those are the differences between males and females that you should take note. We'll show you one more difference, which lies in the hips, as we go down. So here is a picture of a female bending down. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow today. So here is a picture of a female bending down. You can see she has that deep C arch in the back because the pelvis of this female is tilted forward. So that's why a woman's back bends more and she's more flexible. Is because of that arch in her back. All right. Also, like, for example, females can split much more better than men if they can do splits, because the pubic arch is wider. It's 120 degrees or more wider on females, while males have 90 degrees or less pubic arch. A pubic arch is the separation between your crotch. That's the best way I can put it. So for layman-minded people to understand. So as I scroll further into the document, I'm just going to show you that it doesn't matter what shape or size a woman comes in. It doesn't matter if she's tall or she's small, short or whatever, fat, big. There's always going to be an arch in a female's back. As you can see right here, there's a female to my left. She's a big woman. As you can see, she still has an arch in the back. The pelvis is tilted forward. A small female to my right, there's still an arch in the back, and the pelvis is tilted forward, which is necessary for childbirth. So when you get up on those other channels which show you things about jaw lines and index fingers and all of that, that has nothing to do with childbirth. The only difference between a man and a woman is that one is able to give birth and the other is not. It's as simple as that. So here is a muscular female, because people have the idea that if someone takes drugs and goes into do some plastic surgery, that they can change the skeletal structure. Nothing can change the skeletal structure when it's determined at conception. If you are fertilized into an embryo of a male, your skeletal structure remains male. If you're fertilized into an embryo that's female, your skeletal structure will always remain female. What drugs do is change the skin and the muscle density, because men have more muscle mass than females. So if a woman is trying to be a transgendered male when she takes drugs, what the drugs are going to do is just change the muscle mass and make her to gain more muscle mass and density and have her skin a little bit more thicker. Besides that, nothing can change the skeletal structure. So with this female right here, just always remember this. If there was a possibility that the female skeletal structure could be changed, when female bodybuilders, all right, who take a ton of steroids, which are the same steroids or same drugs that transgenders take, all right, it doesn't change their skeletal structure. It still remains the skeletal structure of a female, of hips below the crotch and an arch in the back. Case in point, like you're looking at the picture right here, there's an arch in this female's back because she is a woman, even with all the muscles that she has, as you can see right here. Another female right here, she still has an arch in the back and she's still very, very muscular. So nothing can change the skeletal structure once it's determined and set at birth. So let's move on now and play a short clip just to show you where the location of the female hip is at, so you can have a clear understanding of the difference between a female hip and a male hip, which you see every day, but it hasn't occurred to your mind that that's what you're looking at. So let's go there. So what you're looking at is a female who's trying to be fitted into a cloth, fitted into some sort of dress or pant or skirt, whatever a woman wears. Now, all around the world, this is how a female hip is measured. So all the designer clothes that you wear and the name brands that you wear, this is how the female hip is measured, because it's below the crotch. All right. If there were varying places for the female hip, there would be a problem with the clothes and designs that you get into your stores, because females wouldn't be able to fit because there are varying places for the hip. It would be a problem. But the female hip is always below the crotch. So as you can see right here, this female is going to be measured, and as like a regular female, you can see that she starts spreading from underneath her elbows. That's what regular females do. You start getting wider from underneath your elbows, and the widest point is always going to be your hips, which is below the crotch. Okay, so I want you guys to remember that. Now, a lot of channels will come up with the idea of telling you that a female, that there's such a thing as a shoulder to hip ratio that determines if you're female or not. A woman's shoulders can be wider or broader than her hips. That does not change the location of where the hip is at. The hip location is below the crotch. So even if you have wider shoulders than your hips are still going to be below the crotch. For males, it's above the crotch. So this female is going to be measured, and you can see the tape goes around to measure the hips, and as you can see, it is below the crotch, below it, not above it. Now the Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee, and for females, it's very, very acute. And that Q angle is always going to be below the crotch for a female, and it's going to be more acute than that of a male. All right, a male's Q angle will start above the crotch. For females, it's below the crotch, and it's very, very acute. Okay, so this female is going to turn around so you can see from the back where the Q angle and the hip location is at. And like I've always suggested in so many videos, if you have a problem with trying to determine the location of the hip of a female, maybe you're doing a transvestigation and you get confused by looking at the person from the front, try to see if you can find a picture of the person from the back, because once you look at the picture from the back, you're going to know exactly that you're looking at either a male or a female, because a female's Q angle is always going to be much more acute than that of a male, and it's going to be below her crotch. And the reason why is because the females have an hourglass figure, so from the back you're gonna clearly see that hourglass figure than if you're looking from the front, if you're confused. So as you can see right here, the Q angle of this female and her hip from where it starts is above the crotch but slightly below the bum line. So with males, this would be higher up, the hip would be higher up and would be so far away, or the Q angle so far away from this bum line. So that's one thing you have to note. So that was the crash course, even though we still recommend that you read and study, because without reading and falling in love with reading, you're not gonna get a lot of information in the world that you live in today, because the Vatican, as usual, runs this world and has thrown confusion into a lot of things. So let's move on and talk about some few things before we jump into the transvestigation of Miss Mick Jagger, as we would call him right here today. And let's do that. So now here's the part of the video that I have to put out a warning, because a channel is a different kind of channel. It's an educational channel, and that's why the Vatican is so much harder to work trying to shut us down. So that's why we tell you, if you're new to the channel, okay, and you want to keep in contact with us, because we're working on several different projects to make sure that we spread the truth. We are working on creating a website. Like we said before, the website is not going to be in the United States. It's going to be in a country of origin that the Vatican will not be able to do a lot about. It's going to be something like, maybe you've ever heard of Pirate Bay. So that's what we're working on. So in order for us to keep telling you the truth, you have to send us an email if you're interested in a book, because the whole idea of transgenders, when you see a lot of transgender, because you have a lot of transgenders on TV, in politics, in every aspect of life, there's a reason for it. It's some sort of sacrifice. Let me not say it's some sort of sacrifice. It is a sacrifice that the Vatican does by transgendering young children, all right, and turning them into taking young children and making them not to live according to the sex that they were born with, and transgendering these children to live in a sex and gender that's not the sex and gender that we're born with, and not of their own choosing. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to a God. Now, we've put all this information in a book because we don't have the time to be making videos. We don't want to make the videos too long. So if you're interested in the book, like we said, because the Vatican is hard at work trying to shut us down, we'll show you that in a few minutes. Send us an email, all right, with the title book, so we put you on the email list. So when the book is ready, all right, we'll send you an email first telling you the cost of the book and the cost to get it shipped, and we'll ship it anywhere you are in this world, provided you have an address that it can be shipped to. The book will be shipped to you, so you don't have to worry about, if you're living outside of the United States, or living maybe somewhere in in Europe, or living somewhere in Africa or Asia or the Caribbeans or the Pacific Islands, wherever you are in this world that has an address, and we can ship something to you, you will get the book. So send us an email, because the Vatican is hard at work trying to shut us down. We'll show you in a couple of minutes. But the point of what we're saying all this is that this is an educational channel. So that means you just can't come up to the channel and say, okay, someone is a man, someone is a woman. You have to provide facts. And those facts have to be based on the female skeletal structure. You just can't pull a video, all right, of somebody made a video about this person that you in question that you're saying is a transgender and send to us as facts. The facts that you have to send to us has to be links of pictures based on the female skeletal structure, which means the links of pictures have to show that the person in question has or does not have hips below the crotch, an arch in the back, a wide pubic arch, and a pelvis that's tilted forward. So it has to include those links of pictures. If you just start off by saying that someone is a transgender, someone is a man or a woman, you're going to get blocked in the comment section. We do not allow slandering in any shape or form. You have to provide facts. You can't say someone is a suspect to you. That's still considered slander and you still get blocked. So you can't say someone is a man, is a woman, has long arms, has long torsos, has long ring index fingers, has hip to maybe shoulder ratio, has a strong jawline, the skull is too huge or the head's too big, or the has a slanting forehead, has deep set eyes, has an Adonis belt. You can't say all of that as evidence that this person is a transgender. What you have to do is supply links of pictures based on the female skeletal structure showing that the person has or does not have an arch in the back, hips below the crotch, a pelvis that's tilted forward, and a wide pubic arch. If you do not do so, your comment is going to be considered slander and you're going to get blocked. So please remember that, okay? Now, as usual, we are not against transgenders in any shape or form. All what we're doing is exposing to you the people who are lying to you and say that they're the sex and gender they claim when they're not. That's all we're doing. If, for example, Mick Jagger, in this case that we presented to you, said that he was a transgender, he wouldn't be on this video. So as usual, the Vatican is the one behind, all right, taking young children, forcing these children to live in a sex and gender that they were not born with, all right, and making them products that they can use to rule this world or the new world order. And saying that every time, I feel a pinch. I know I feel some sort of I don't know if it's anger or annoyance or whatever, but I feel something so sad that young children, like people can do this to young children, to young kids. It breaks. I don't want to say it breaks my heart because my heart's it's far past from getting broken. It's I don't know the feeling or the annoyance that I have inside, but that's what the Vatican is doing. The Vatican is hard at work trying to shut us down, and that's what I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds because we made a video about Selena Quintanilla. I believe that's the name, or Selena Q. And the Vatican tried sent us a stress, said that the video contained nudity and tried to shut us down. And so we don't know how long our channel is going to be up. So that's why we request that you send us an email with the name, with the title or subject of the email called book, in case the Vatican shuts us down in the future, because we're working on several things like our own website. We can put all this video up so that a lot of people can see. Then when the website is ready and everything, then we can send you an email and just tell you, okay, here we are. You can move over to this website and watch all your videos, and so long and so forth. Even though you might be interested in the book as well, we'll use that same email to forward you all the information that you need concerning the book also. So you need to send us an email because the Vatican is hard at work trying to shut us down. All right. We want to put the books in your hand because the book is going to tell you the whole history of this world. It's going to be glaring and very, very clear. So you won't have any shadow of a doubt where you're at and why we are here in this world as of today. So please remember that. And for our videos, we advise that you download the videos, that you re-upload the videos, that you save the videos. Do whatever you want with any of our videos on this channel. It's free for you to download and use, but spread the truth. Let people be aware and people be awake for those who have been searching for the truth. That's all what we recommend. So let me show you what the Vatican is trying to do to us, and show you just some quick examples on, why the Vatican is not somebody that, because like I've said before, YouTube is owned by the Vatican. Everything in this world is owned and run by the Vatican. Make no mistakes about it. Okay? So let me show you some couple of things, the hypocrisy that the Vatican is involved with by shutting that Selena Quintanilla video down. Now, if you're interested in watching the Selena Quintanilla video, I'll just call her Selena Q because I think the name's too long. If you're interested in watching the Selena Q video, look for the video on Who is Bono. All right? Look for the video on Who is Bono. It will tell you, it will show you how to watch the Selena Q video for your own self. But for that, let's just show you the hypocrisy of the Vatican first before we continue on with the transvestigation of Mick Jagger. So the Vatican here sent us an email, already sent us an email that we are the Selena Q video violated YouTube's policy on nudity and sexual content. Now, what YouTube usually does, if you have a problem with the video, they tell you the minute mark, or like, on where the nudity in this case was involved, and sexual content. But as you can see right here from the screen, they didn't show us the minute mark because the video had no nudity or sexual content. They just wanted to shut the video down because a lot of people, especially Hispanics who worship Selena Q, are not aware of the fact that they were worshiping a boy, or who love Selena Q so much. She's like I will just call it right. He's a legend in the Hispanic world. They did not know that Selena Q was male all along, and they were being played. So as you can see right here from this copyright strike, they didn't tell us the minute mark on where the sexual content and nudity was involved. Now, when we clicked on learn more, just to read about the sexual content and what they say, why is and isn't allowed. So, because I want to show you guys the hypocrisy of the Vatican. So what you notice here, it says nudity and sexual content. That is the more information that YouTube, which is owned by the Vatican, tells us. If a video is intended to be sexually provocative, it's less likely to be acceptable for YouTube. Sexually explicit content like pornography is not allowed. Videos containing fetish content will be removed or age restricted. So usually, if you have content that is has nudity, usually YouTube puts an age limit on that video. But in a Selena Q video, if they said it had some sort of nudity content, which it doesn't, they didn't even give us the chance to put an age restriction on the video. Why? Because the Vatican, who owns YouTube, is not interested in people knowing the truth. They want you to keep on being deceived about the people and reality of your world. That's why you have to read a book. We hope that before the end of the month, the book is going to be ready. So send us an email if you're interested in the book with the subject book. All right, so we can email it to you first. Email you on how to get it first before we make a video. We give you the time to, because we give you the time to get the book, because the book is gonna be printed according to order. We're not just gonna be having excess inventory laying around. So email us, all right, and tell us that you need the book. So it goes on to say here, it says, depending on the severity of the act in question, in most cases, violent, graphic, or humiliating fetishes are not allowed to be shown on YouTube. A video that contains nudity or other sexual content may be allowed if the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic, which our video had. Even though our video had no nudity, it's educational and isn't gratuitously graphic. There was no nudity, so we couldn't even be gratuitous about the nature of the video in showing if Selena Q wasn't nude. And we're just going to show you some hypocrisy of YouTube on here. It says, in cases where videos do not cross the line but still contain sexual content, we may apply an age restriction so that only viewers over a certain age can view the content, which they never did. They never gave us the chance. They just blocked the video. Why? Because they don't like us telling you the truth. That's all what it is. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of more nudity that actually happens on YouTube, which goes unabated. For example, there's a video, I think a video on Iggy Azalea. The title of the song is called I Can Change Your Life. in which you can see the areola of a male, because people don't actually know that Iggy Azalea is not female. Iggy Azalea is actually female. But you can imagine the balls that YouTube has, all right, to show you a woman's areola, because I believe you can see the areola of any female. That female is actually nude. And on this video, Iggy Azalea shows his areola because Iggy Azalea is male, all right? And such videos are allowed to play on YouTube without restriction, with no warning. All right, it's not even age restricted. And a video on Selena Q gets blocked when it has no nudity. And you have people like Iggy Azalea on that video showing his areola, and you have Rihanna, who's actually female, showing her own areolas as well, and areolas of other females on a song that's called what's the song called? Let me get the name of the song right first. The song's called Needed Me. We'll show you a case in point on this particular video, so you can actually see the hypocrisy. And on our video, we didn't show any nudity involved, because all what the video did was like the Selena Q video. This is all what Selena Q was wearing throughout that whole entire video. There's no nudity here. You don't see any areolas. Even though he's wearing a bikini right here, he still has something covered. But YouTube blocked us because we were showing people the truth, that this so-called Selena Q is actually male, and they don't want the public and the Hispanic world to know that. So they can block us for any reason, because YouTube has a funny way, the Vatican, because when I say YouTube, I'm talking to the Vatican as well. They can block you under any reason at all, because they have something in what they call the Protocols of Zion that says the pretext for stopping any publication will be the alleged plea that it is agitating the public mind without occasion or justification. The Protocols of Zion were written by the Vatican, even though it carries the name Zion. It's just to throw people off to keep thinking and believing that the Jews are the cause of the world problems, when it is the Vatican who created the Jews, and are using the Jews to get back into Jerusalem, which is the design of the devil. We've put all that information in the book. In the book that we're saying that you should send us an email about if you're interested with the title book. Now, the email that you send us, our email, is the same as the channel name at gmail.com. So if you're interested in the book, that's all you need to do. Just send us that email, all right, at the name of the channel at gmail.com. So we just want to show you the videos first of, how Iggy Azalea shows his areola, and Rihanna in her song called Needed Me shows her areola. And those videos don't get blocked. The so-called fake YouTube community that they have are not saying, oh, we have nudity on Iggy Azalea and Rihanna's videos. They should be blocked, because the YouTube community is the Vatican. YouTube is the Vatican, and the Vatican is YouTube. They are both the same. There's no such thing as a YouTube community. All right, so let me show you those videos so you guys can go take a look for yourself and see that what I'm saying is true. And ask the Vatican or YouTube, as the case might be, why they blocked a Selena Q video in which they're trying to shut us down also. So here is the video in which Rihanna actually shows her areola. I've covered up that part so you guys don't see it, because the fake so-called YouTube community, which is the Vatican, will say, oh, you put another areola on here, strike number 2 for you. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to shut us down. So send us an email with the title book, so that we keep you on an email list and mail you a book, and also keep you on the email list so we can move you over to our website, which is under construction, when if at any point in time the Vatican tries to shut us down for letting you guys know the truth. Now, the song is called Rihanna Needed Me. You can play it from this minute mark of 124, and you're gonna see Rihanna's naked areolas, all right, showing on this video, and so many other naked areolas, and yet this video doesn't get banned from YouTube. As you can see right here, he has 166 million views and still running. Okay, it doesn't get banned. The video has been around for a very long time, and it hasn't been banned. No age restriction has been put up. Anybody can just click on the video and watch. This is how YouTube or the Vatican operates, shutting down the truth. So let me show you another the Iggy Azalea video. for you guys to see. Then we can move on and talk about Mick Jagger and finish this transvestigation up. So in this particular video of Iggy Azalea, it's called Change Your Life featuring T.I. Iggy Azalea is a man, unlike Rihanna, who's actually female. Iggy Azalea is a man. As you can see right here, I'm going to show you some pictures of Iggy Azalea real quick. You can see that this Q angle of Iggy Azalea right here is above the crotch. It's not below it like a female. It's right this point. Just follow my mouse. It's right there. That's the point of the Q angle. It's above the crotch, not below it. Now, the Vatican has the balls to put a man up to you with a naked areola and make you believe that you're looking at a female. All right? And this video doesn't get blocked by the so-called YouTube community, which is actually the Vatican. And a video on Selena Q gets blocked when she's fully clothed. There was no nudity in any way, shape, or form. Why? Because the Vatican wants you to keep on being deceived and not know the truth and reality of what they're up to and what they're doing. Because like I've said before, Iggy Azalea right here, who's a man, who's being portrayed to us as a female, and the whole world believes that it's actually female, is some sort of sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to a god in which the Vatican serves, which is not the God of the Bible, and his name is not Yahushua either. So we've put all this information in the book because we don't have time to go into explaining to you what it means. If you're interested in the book, just send us an email with the title book. All right. Our email is the same as the channel name at gmail.com, so that when the book is ready, which we hope is going to be before the end of the month, we'll email you the instructions on how to get it, the cost of the book and the cost of shipping, and we'll send it to you first before we make a video and let the public know that the book is ready. And also, even if you are not interested in the book, just send us the title book so that we can keep you on the email list. So in case the Vatican shuts us down, which they are working so much hard to do, we can send you an email when the website is ready, so you guys can go over there and get some dose of truth and reality in your world. Now, let me show you a transvestigation of Iggy Azalea, who's actually a dude here, before we move on and start talking about Mick Jagger and finish this transvestigation up. But you can see right here, I already showed you very glaringly that the Q angle of this so-called female is above the crotch, because it's not female. It's actually a male masquerading as a female to us, which is he's one of the Vatican stooges. Now, Rihanna is female, so no slandering allowed on this channel. If you say he's male without providing links of pictures based on the female skeletal structure, you're going to get blocked. So remember that we have zero tolerance for slandering. So let's go. So here is a picture of Iggy Azalea. Now we already have two videos on Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea part 1, Iggy Azalea part 2, who is Iggy Azalea. So get on the channel if you're interested in like the full details to watch all of that. We also have Iggy Azalea on the Imposter Hip series, female Imposter Hip series. Look for that. You find that as well on this channel. So Iggy Azalea is right here with a female in Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is female. As you can see, her Q angle right here is below her crotch. Below her crotch, as you can see, below her crotch. Now in Iggy Azalea's case right here, let me try to blow this up so you guys can see, even the picture is not very clear. You can see that the Q angle right here is above the crotch. It's not below it. See, this is the Q angle of Jennifer Lopez below the crotch. Iggy Azalea's own is above it, because Iggy Azalea is actually male. All right, so that's just what I wanted to show you guys. Q angle and hips of Jennifer Lopez is below the crotch, and it's very, very cute. Q angle of Iggy Azalea is above the crotch, because Iggy Azalea is male and Jennifer Lopez is female. All right, so let's move on because I want to show you something from the video, the lyrics in which they talked about Mick Jagger in the song called Move Like Jagger by Maroon 5, in which Adam Levine, who's actually female, is singing about, and showing you how the Vatican, likes playing mind games on the people and telling you truth in plain sight without you guys actually knowing, because you're not paying attention. You're just looking with your eyes but not seeing with your brain. So let me show you that so we can finish up the transvestigation of of Mick Jagger right here. So here is that song. The song is called "Moves Like Jagger" featuring Christina Aguilera. Now, in this video, when you've actually watched the video from the first, you can go look for the video and just watch it on your own. You will notice that the video on this song starts with showing like Mick Jagger dancing, and then they'll cut to a woman dancing, then cut to Mick Jagger dancing, then cut to another woman dancing, and Adam Levine, who's actually female, all right? We have a video on Adam Levine. If you're interested, just go look for it on the channel, Adam Levine, showing you that he's actually female and he's not a man. And you will see that the Vatican is playing tricks on you, telling you that Mick Jagger is actually female without the public knowing. Because every time they showed Mick Jagger dance, they'll cut to a female dancing, then they'll cut to Mick Jagger again, then cut to another female, and then Adam Levine will be singing. And even the lyrics of the song would tell you that Mick Jagger is actually female. In Christina Aguilera's verse. Now, I love Christina Aguilera's voice. She's one of the greatest singers that I love listening to. But even though I know that she's a Vatican stooge, and since I found that out, the voice doesn't sound so appealing anymore. I used to love Christina Aguilera a long time ago, the voice. Now, I mean how she sings. I love her voice. So, Christina Aguilera is female. No slandering allowed. If you do that, you get blocked. You have to provide links of pictures based on the female skeletal structure. And we featured Christina Aguilera on one of on one of her videos called "Real Gender, Not Transgender or Transsexual." If you're interested, you can go look that up. I think that's in part number, if I'm sure, it's going to be part number, I think 4, 5, or 6. We advise that you watch the whole Real Gender, Transgender series so you can see and know the people that we have covered and identify to be the gender they are. Now, I want to show you Christina Aguilera's verse on what she actually says, revealing that Mick Jagger is actually a woman. Let me show you her verse. I'm going to read the lyrics to you. So here's the lyric to that part in which Christina Aguilera sings on that song with Adam Levine on "Moves Like Jagger." It says, "You want to know how to make me smile is a question. Take control, own me just for the night." So it goes on to say, "And if I share my secret, you're going to have to keep it. Nobody else can see this. So watch and learn. I won't show you twice." So you can see how even in the lyrics of the song about Mick Jagger on Maroon 5, Christina Aguilera's lyrics is actually showing that there's a secret to Mick Jagger, that Mick Jagger is not who you think he is, that he's actually female, been masquerading as a male because she's a Vatican stooge trying to, confuse the public into some sort of sacrifice and worship. Like I've said before, all this is included in the book on how transgenders are sacrificed, and that they're actually sacrificed, that started somewhere started somewhere in the land of, it's been around for a while, but we show you the specific places of where it started from, the points of origin in the book. So if you're interested in the book, send us an email with the book, with the title book. Our email is the same as the channel name at gmail.com. So back to this, you can see how it says, "And if I share my secret, you take control, own me just for the night. And if I share my secret, you're going to have to keep it. Nobody else can see this. So watch and learn. I won't show you twice. Head to toe, oh baby, rub me right. And if I share my secret, you're going to have to keep it. Nobody else can see this." So this is the part that Christina Aguilera, which is a woman, actual woman, sings to show you in symbology that Mick Jagger actually has a secret that nobody else knows, that he'll only reveal to those who is close to or who she's close to. And Adam Levine, who's also a transgendered male because he's female, sings on the song. So the whole song and symbology about Mick Jagger was actually it's just like laughing in the public that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, because Adam Levine says he moves like Jagger. If he moves like Jagger, what does that mean? That him and Jagger are one and the same. All right, so let's move on and get into the transvestigation of Mick Jagger and wrap this up. But first of all, we want to show you, read something from Wikipedia's page on Mick Jagger to show you the Vatican code of numbers that's littered all over Mick Jagger's life because he's a Vatican stooge. Now, if you heard me say the Vatican code of numbers and you're interested in knowing about the Vatican code of numbers, go to the channel and look for the video called, or look for the playlist rather, that's called Vatican code of numbers, or look for the video that's called the Listen Loves video, in which we go into detail explaining what the Vatican code of number means. Now it says Mick Jagger here, Sir Michael Philip Jagger, was born 26th of July. The Vatican code of numbers is already at work. Born on the 26th. It could be that this female, Mick Jagger, was never born on the 26th of July, but because he's some sort of sacrifice, she's a sacrifice in the Vatican system, so they always have to make it look like it has some sort of spiritual connotation to it. Spirituality means something very, very different from what we think it is. We've put all that information in the book. So if you're interested in the book to really understand what it means to be spiritual, or what spirituality actually means, send us an email if you're interested in the book. Once the book is ready, we'll send you the information on how to get it, and you get all the information. The book is going to be, it's loaded. It's tons and tons of things to make your eyes open, come to the reality of your world. Even though the name of the book, I'm not going to tell the book name of the book right now, it's going to be titled in such a way that can throw some people off, because we are revealing mysteries and secrets, concealed mysteries and secrets inside the book. So we want to throw some people off who might get offended by the name of the book. But if you're interested in it, we guarantee you that it will make you understand your world perfectly clearly, so you have no shadow or doubts about anything. If you're interested, send us an email with the book, with the subject of the email saying book. Email is the same as the channel name at gmail.com, because the Vatican might shut us down anytime. They're coming up with excuses to do so, because they can't find anything to shut us down with, so they just have to blatantly do it. All right, that's just what the Vatican is up to, and the Vatican is YouTube. YouTube is owned by the Vatican. So you can see right here that they say that this so-called fake dude was born on the 26th of July just to fit into the Vatican code of numbers. Now, if you scroll forward down into this particular page, because the Vatican code of numbers is littered everywhere, but I want to show you something very, very particular. It says here that Jagger's net worth has been estimated at $360 million. That's another Vatican code of numbers at work. And let me show you what I wanted to show you. Let me scroll through the page a little bit and show you what I want to show you. Now, before I go any further, there's something I just want to point out. Someone did send me an email, or not an email, rather comment. The lady always leaves comments, but she never ever has time to read. Now, people, you have to understand that it's a lot of work to go through the comment section trying to answer your questions. So if you leave a comment, please take out the time to see if your comment was responded to and read it. And then maybe you can notify us that you at least read the comment, because there's no need for you to leave a comment or question and then we take out the time to answer the question and you do not respond. So the lady likes leaving a lot of comments, but she never seems to get back to reading the response from us. She asked us the question, why does it seem like out of Australia that there are so many transgenders coming out of Australia? And the answer is this. Australia is a large country just like the United States, and both of them are the military bases of the Vatican. So why there are so many transgenders are coming out of Australia is because since Australia is so large, the Vatican can afford to, carry out a lot of, wicked inventions and hide it from the public view in Australia. So because of that, they are having so many, other, things that they could do in Australia that they can do any place else, because it's far out of the world, far at the end of the world. And just like the United States is a huge landmass, they can hide several things and do several things away from the public view. So in those kind of places in which they are using to carry out inventions, all right, they have to make sacrifices to whosoever God that they are worshiping. And those sacrifices sometimes come in transgenders, all right? And those transgenders, that's the reason why you have a lot of transgenders coming out from Australia as the United States, because there's some sort of sacrifice. We've put all that information in the book for you to read. So if you're interested in the book, send us an email with the title book. Our email is the same as the channel name at gmail.com, and just send us an email so we have you up on our email list, so that in case YouTube shuts us down, we can move you, or we can let you know when the website is ready, so you can move over there and watch your videos and get some dose of truth, and get some more information. So let me scroll down to show you what I wanted to show you inside this web page after trying to answer that lady's question. So here's what I wanted to read from the Mick Jagger webpage. It says, Jagger was born and grew up in Dartford, Kent. He studied at the London School of Economics before abandoning his academic career to join the Rolling Stones. Jagger has written most of the whole Rolling Stones songs together with Richards, and they continue to collaborate musically. In the late 1960s, Jagger began acting in films, starting with a performance on Ed Kelly to a mixed reception. He began his solo career in 1985, releasing his first album, She's the Boss. So, Mick Jagger's very first album was called She's the Boss. Why would a man release a song, all right, or first album titled She's the Boss when he's a man? Because Mick Jagger is a female. And people didn't catch this. All right, so let's get on to show you some pictures of Mick Jagger to show you that you've been looking at a woman all along, masquerading around as a man. Let's do that. Okay, sorry, this is just a picture of, we just tried to show you before that Iggy Azalea was a dude. He's a dude and still is, because the Q angle is above the crotch like a man should be. And you can see that with Jennifer Lopez here, the Q angle is below the crotch because she's female and this is a dude. And this is how the Vatican always tries to confuse people, because in the Selena Q video, for example, Jennifer Lopez played Selena Q in the posthumous production about her life. What they did was they presented, first of all, Selena Q as a female to you, who was actually male. And in a supposed fake death, after he died, they made Jennifer Lopez play, all right, play a video, play Selena Q in a movie. So that's how they superimpose, truth and lies onto you, so you believe the lie. So Jennifer Lopez was actually a very, curvaceous female playing the part, or playing the role of Selena Q, makes people actually believe that Selena Q is female. Because now in your mind, you're going to be seeing the figure, all right, of Jennifer Lopez, and you actually think that Selena Q is female. It cements that in your mind and memory. In the same way, this is what they're doing with this Iggy Azalea right here on stage with Jennifer Lopez. Iggy Azalea, who's actually male, and Jennifer Lopez is actually female. So they're superimposing the lie with the truth. So that's how people get convinced easily of, lies. They're superimposing truth upon lies. It's because somebody's going to be looking at the beautiful figure of Jennifer Lopez, and she's a beautiful lady, but all the same, it doesn't change the fact that she's a liar. Because like we have said, anybody you see on TV, as long as you see that person on TV, they're a public deception of the Vatican. They are telling you lies in some way, shape, or form. Now, they're using Jennifer Lopez, right here, to superimpose on the figure of Iggy Azalea. All right? So somebody seeing, maybe was in concert, looking at Iggy Azalea, who's actually a dude, and you're looking at Jennifer Lopez, who's actually female, is going to believe that this person in Iggy Azalea is actually a female when he's not. That's how the Vatican works, and that's why they're trying to shut us down. So we want to get the book to you, which will tell you all everything, the history of this world and the lies and the reason for it, everything from creation up to the point that we are right here. So if you're interested in the book, like we've said, send us an email with the title book, so we can keep you on an email list for future things, besides the book as well, if you're interested in the book, so we can let you know when the book is ready. We tell you the cost of the book, the price of shipping, so that we can get it across to you. All right, so let's go on to Mick Jagger. Here is a picture of Mick Jagger. This one is a little bit, let me see if I can blow this up as much as I can. You can see that Mick Jagger right here has an arch in his back, which is necessary for childbirth because Mick Jagger is female. Don't worry, we have some more pictures that's going to show you that very, very glaringly. Here's another picture of Mick Jagger right here. As you can see, this is a woman. All right, this is a woman from the way his mannerisms are and the way he puts his hand, because that's the female waist right there, which is always going to be above the navel. And you can see he has an arch in the back from the way he's twisting and turning like a female, and the hips are below the crotch. We don't know what's going on here, but we know it's fake. It's not real, because Mick Jagger is 100% female, been masquerading around as a man for way too long. Now look at Mick Jagger now moving. Now remember, the female waist is always going to be just below her rib cage and just above her navel. So when a woman starts moving, the midsection point, because that's where the actual waist of a female is going to be twisting and turning. With males, it's always going to be below, did I say below? The navel for a woman, the waist for a woman is above the navel. For males, it's going to be below the navel. Sorry if I said it wrong. What I was trying to say was that the rib cage for the female waist, just below her rib cage is where her navel is, and it's just above her navel. So when a woman starts moving, her waist is gonna be, the waist is gonna be the midsection point of the body, and that's where she moves from. As you can see right here, that's where Mick Jagger is moving from high above the navel, because that's where his waist is at. And as he's moving down, the widest point, see how he spreads, he gets wider and wider and wider and wider down here, and this is where the hips are at, because Mick Jagger is a female, been masquerading as around for as a male for way too long. We have some more pictures, so just stick around. And here is Mick Jagger again. As you can see, there's an arch in the back, that's the navel, and that waist, that's what I was trying to explain earlier, that for the female waist is always going to be just slightly below the rib cage but above the navel. And this is where Mick Jagger has the arch in his back, because Mick Jagger is female, been masquerading around as a male for way too long, just like Selena Q and Iggy Azalea. And look at Mick Jagger again here, and the Q angle is below the crotch. See how acute that Q angle is? Below the crotch, and walking like a female right here. As you can see, been a female way too long. The arms are following the curves of the body, as you can see right here, trying to follow the curves. We have some more pictures that we're going to show you that, but the Q angle regardless is below the crotch. We don't know what's happening here, but it's fake, because this is a female. Now a lot of people wonder why Mick Jagger's voice sounds the way it does. When a female takes steroids, some sort of testosterone or any form of testosterone that's like or any form of steroids that is an equivalent of testosterone, it changes the vocal cords. So when it changes the vocal cords are like, muscles. They're going to stay that way forever. So the voice of that female is going to sound like a man. So if you want to know how the effects of steroids are, look for some female bodybuilders. You will notice that all female bodybuilders, most of them who have taken the form of steroids, the wrong form of steroids that they take, will have manly voices. That's what steroids does to the female voice. It changes into a manly voice. So even though he's going to be talking like a man, it doesn't change the fact that the skeletal structure tells you that this is female all day, with this Q angle below the crotch, because Mick Jagger is female. All right, some more pictures of Mick Jagger. As you can see, the way he's moving from below the crotch. That's where his hips is at. And as you can see, even with the cloth that he's wearing, that he's spreading from underneath the elbows. I know this is a black and white picture, it's dark a bit, but you can see right here, if you follow my mouse, that he's spreading wider from underneath that elbows, and the termination point is right here, which is below his crotch, because Mick Jagger is 100% female, was never a man in the first place. He's just masquerading around as another Vatican stooge. And here is Mick Jagger again. As you can see, the same thing is still happening from underneath his elbows. He's still spreading, because even when a female wears clothes, the clothes are still going to follow the contours and the figure of that female body. So as you can see right here, he's spreading from underneath the elbows, and the widest point right here is below his crotch. And you can see how acute this Q angle is, because it's the Q angle of a female, because that is a female. The Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee, and for female, it starts below the crotch. You can see how acute that is, because this is 100% female. And even the way he's walking, Look at how the feet are. Men do not walk this way, all right? When a man walks, a man leans his weight towards the legs that's behind him in the step. Females lean their weight into the feet that's in front of them because the pubic arch of a female is wider than that of a man, all right? So the legs need to do two things when they're walking. It needs to go forward, right? And it needs to go inwards in the step. So that's what causes the female gait to move from side to side. That it looks like she's swinging her hips from side to side. Because every time she's walking, a woman is walking because of the wider pubic arch. The pubic arch is the space in between your crotch. For females, it's wider so that a baby can come out of the womb. So because of that, all right, when a woman's pubic arch is wide, it pushes the hips further apart from the body. So the legs need to come inside in the step and forward at the same time when a woman is walking. So that's what causes the female to be swinging from side to side, walking like she's swinging her hips because of that wide pubic arch. And that's what Mick Jagger is doing right here. He's leaning his weight into the leg that's in front of him right here because that's what females do. All right, another picture of Mick Jagger, and this one is clear. It's so glaring, it's just ridiculous just looking at it. That you've been looking around at a female for so long without knowing. Look at how he's spreading wider and wider and wider and wider and wider and wider, and the Q angle is below the crotch. We don't know what's going on here. We don't think it's real. It's not a male real package. It's just some sort of packaging down there just to confuse people that you're looking at a male when you're not. But you can see the curvaceous nature of this so-called man because he's 100% female and was never a man in the first place. Here is Mick Jagger again with the Rolling Stones, and this is the picture that set off everything, because I was doing some sort of like research with the team, and this picture showed up, and we were like, why are we looking at this picture? So what we did notice was that the Q angle was below the crotch, because you can see Mick Jagger gets wider here, and the Q angle all of a sudden very, very acute from below the crotch just starts there because he's 100% female and never a man. Don't worry about the face. This all can be done through plastic surgery. So that's why such things as when people say, that somebody looks like a man because of the face, the skull, and everything else, the jaw lines. This can all be faked, number one. And number two, there's so much hormones in the food, the drugs, the water we drink, and everything else, such that it's giving females and males some sort of unisex kind of form, so that a man doesn't look like a man anymore and a female doesn't look like a female anymore because of all the hormones that we're taking, which is changing the genetics, but it can't change the skeletal structure of the pelvis and the arch in the back, which is consistent with females. And so that's just the only thing that the hormones can do. They can change the facial features and a lot of stuff, but they can't change the skeletal structure. All right, so let's move forward. And here is Mick Jagger again from the back. As you can see, that Q angle is below the crotch. That's the bum line right there. And the Q angle starts from there. All right. And see how acute that is. All right. Because that's the Q angle of a female. And that's a female's butt right here. Because Mick Jagger is 100% female. Was never a man. He's just been masquerading around as one. All right. Let's go to another picture. And here's Mick Jagger again. There is an arch in the back, necessary for childbirth, because Mick Jagger, all right, is female. Now, when they put him on stage, they make him wear all this crazy padding, because this stuff is just padding. We don't think it's a real package, like a manly package. This is just some packaging just to sell the idea that you're looking at a man. And with the cognitive dissonance that the Vatican loves doing, just like they'll put up Mick Jagger with real men. So when you see real men, you think Mick Jagger's also a man, just like they do with Iggy, Azalea, and Selena Q. They put it up with real females like Jennifer Lopez. You look at Jennifer Lopez, who's a real female, and you think all of them are females. It's just the cognitive dissonance that doesn't work. All that information we put into a book for you. Like we said, if you're interested in the book, send us an email with the title book. So when the book is ready, we can ship it out to you. It contains so much stuff that you're going to know about your world that you never thought possible. Here is Mick Jagger again. As you can see, the Q angle is below the crotch. That's the bum line right there, like we showed you earlier in the video. That's the bum line, and the Q angle starts below the crotch because Mick Jagger is 100% female and not a man. All right. Okay, here let's move on. Another picture of Mick Jagger when he was much more younger. As you can see, the Q angle now starts just screaming out at you and saying, I am female all day. Let me blow this one up so you can see it clearly. You can see that the Q angle is below the crotch, not above it like a man should be, because Mick Jagger is 100% female masquerading around as a man for way too long. He's around 70 years age, 70 years old right now. He never thought his secret would be known today, but it is what it is. If the Vatican is going to shut us down, they will shut us down regardless, because there's no nudity involved here. We're just telling you the truth. They don't like the truth, and there's nothing they can do about it. Like I said, send us an email so when our website is ready, you can move over there if they shut us down today or any day they choose to do so. Here's another picture of Mick Jagger. There's an arch in the back because that's necessary for childbirth, because Mick Jagger is a female and not a man. Don't worry about the fake packaging down here. He's probably got nothing underneath there. And they made up such stories, like he said, he's had like maybe several children from 8 women, just to give you the virile nature of how males go about having children, which he does not have, because he's 100% female and can get anybody pregnant. All right, rather he's the one who would be getting pregnant. Arch in the back right here, as you can see with Mick Jagger. Let me blow this up as much as I can so you guys can see that clearly. There's an arch in the back because Mick Jagger is 100% female, moving like Jagger, because Jagger is a female. Here is another picture of Mick Jagger. As you can see, this one when he was much more younger, and you can see the Q angle. Now, if you know how females sometimes do this, they can stand and try to stretch, and when they stretch and move their hips up, it kind of gives a very nice figure from the side. If you're looking from the side or from the back, that S shape, or side view. This is what Mick Jagger is doing, stretching, but the hips right here is above, below the crotch, as a female should be, and the Q angle starts there because Mick Jagger is 100% female, been masquerading around as a male for too long at 70 years of age, hiding the secret. But we just have to let you guys see it today. And here's Mick Jagger again. As you can see, curvaceous figure, hourglass figure all the way down, and it's below the crotch. The Q angle is below the crotch from where the hips are at, because Mick Jagger is 100% female, masquerading as a man. Don't worry about the face. It's all plastic surgery just to sell you the idea that is actually a man, because it could be at this point that the hormones that they've been giving to it, because if you're transgender, trying to be a transgender, your body is always going to be fighting to be in the natural state which it was. So after a certain point in time, it starts rejecting the steroids, the hormones, and just wants to stay in the natural way that it was meant to be. And maybe at Mick Jagger's age, it's actually catching up to him. So sooner or later, we're going to hear that Mick Jagger's dead, because he probably could be dead or not, but they're trying to hide the fact so that people don't see that you're actually looking at a female. And that this has never been a man of the Rolling Stones. All right, the Rolling Stones is even blasphemy. All right, the name Rolling Stones is some sort of symbology to the time that the stone, when Yehoshua came out of the grave and the stones were rolled away by those angels. There's some sort of symbology, because the Vatican, the Vatican is actually against God, the real God of the Bible. What they worship is Satan. So when they mention stones, when they create groups like this called Rolling Stones, is actually a blasphemous, all right, group that's supposed to be mocking God. That's just the truth about it. And Mick Jagger is one person from the Rolling Stones that's making that possible, the mockery of God. Because as you can see, this is a woman with a fine hourglass figure. All right, so let's move on to some other pictures. And here is Mick Jagger again. As you can see, the Q angle is below the crotch. Now don't worry about this long length of clothing right here, because his crotch is right around here. This is just a long length of clothing just to sell the illusion that you're looking at a male, when it's not. There's nothing down here. This is where his crotch is at in relation to the length of the torso of his body right here, and that's where his Q angle is at. It's below the crotch because he's 100% female. As you can see how acute that is, because Mick Jagger is a woman, was never a man in the first place. All right, here's Mick Jagger again. As you can see, You can see right there that that is his waist from the way it turns and twists. Because as a female, when, like I said, as a female, when you turn and twist, you've been turning from your waist, and your waist is just above your navel. All right, below your rib cage, above your navel. As you can see, he's twisting and turning right. He's showing you that fine hourglass figure, because Mick Jagger is 100% female and not a man masquerading around as a man for way too long. All right, Mick Jagger again, as you can see, he's still twisting like a female. Let me blow this up so you guys can see. You can see that, like I said before, with females, the arms usually follow the contours of the body. So you have an hourglass figure. As a woman, your arms are going to be that way in an hourglass shape of figure. As you can see right here, Mick Jagger's arms are following the contours of the body, and you start spreading from underneath his elbows. He gets wider, 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 wider. And the point of termination is below the crotch right here, as you can see, with this hourglass figure, because Mick Jagger is 100% female and not a man. Mick Jagger again, I just wanted to show you the small rib cage that he has. Is the rib cage of a female. With males, the rib cages are usually very larger, and they come all the way down close to the navel. But you can see this point in the body, in which Mick Jagger's body has this navel, is at the wrong point for a man. It would be further down here, and the rib cage would extend further down, almost close to that navel, which should be around here, because Mick Jagger is 100% female. As you can see also, the arms are following the contours of the body, because Mick Jagger is a woman. All right, let's move on to some more pictures. And here is the picture. You get this one is clear as night and day. I mean, there's no I don't know, there's no, I mean, when they say a picture is 1,000 words, this is it right here. The Q angle is below the crotch, not above it, because it's below the crotch. And Mick Jagger is 100% female and not a man. All right, okay, let's move on to some other pictures. We can see that again. The Q angle still says all day I'm a woman, because he's spreading wider, and the widest point is below the crotch from where you see that sticking out, because Mick Jagger is 100% female, not a man. Look at that, huge hips, the hips of a woman. All right, let's move on to some other pictures. And Mick Jagger again, twisting like a woman. Twist because he has an arch in the back. Mick Jagger, 100% female. And you can see with all the mannerisms that he has on stage, this is the mannerisms of a woman, because it's genetic. The way a woman walks, talks, or what she does and how she acts is all in her genes. It's a genetic trait. No effeminate man, no homosexual can act this way. It's not in your genes. It's always gonna come off that you're a dude when you're trying to act like a female. All right, case in point, look at stuff like the way maybe Beyonce would act to Serena Williams. After a point, you start seeing that this is a man. All right, they can't lie that much, and the Vatican can. It's been lying way too long. The lies are all getting exposed. We're exposing everything. Okay, here's Mick Jagger again. As you can see, the Q angle is below the crotch. Below, and look at how he spreads like a female, wider, 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 and the Q angle terminates below the crotch, because it's 100% female Mick Jagger. Take a look at that picture. Would you say that's a man? Well, you've been deceived for way too long. You gotta wake up. You've been looking at a female all along for so many long years. Here's Mick Jagger again. We just wanted to show you what this is. Black and white. It's not actually showing very clearly, but if you follow my mouse, those are the curves of the body right there, all the way, and there's an arch in the back, because Mick Jagger is 100% female, looking like even more like a female in this picture, because it is some sort of sacrifice for the Vatican. Mick Jagger again, Q angle is below the crotch, still looking like a female. As you can see, they dressed it up. All the nice covering is just to hide the fact that you've been looking at a female. Here is Mick Jagger again, and here's the way he's standing. You can see there's an arch in this back. He's twisting and turning, and they take the picture from a weird angle. They take it from below, all right, so it looks like the Q angle is up and he's looking down. You know, they slant the picture backwards, but it's actually a woman. Arch in the back, Q angle below the crotch, and a fake package down here trying to sell you the idea that it's male. All right, so we've come to the end of today's video. Like I've said, the Vatican is trying to shut us down. In case they do, send us an email with the title book, so we can put you on the email list. and we can send you an email about the book when it's ready. Hopefully, we hope to start shipping copies before the end of the month. We'll let you know all that information. So send us the book, or send us sorry, rather the email. Email is the same as the channel name at gmail.com with the title of book, so you get on the email list, and so we can forward you the information about the book, the cost, and the price to ship it to you wherever you are in this world, and also so that we can email you if the channel gets shut down on our website, so you guys can move over there. We have so many things in the work. The team is working really, really hard. We are really working hard to make sure that people get the truth. We're working on movies. It's going to be like really nice movies, the kind that you'd watch in Hollywood, and you wouldn't even expect that you could watch such good movies from independent people who make movies. So that's all down the pipeline. And so we'll let you know all that when it's ready. So send us an email. So if you've learned something, subscribe to the channel. If we're still up, we'll still be providing you with information. And as usual, we leave you with these words: look with your eyes, but see with your brain. Thanks, and bye-bye.